Hi everyone, Jamie Humphries here for Six String Alliance, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Blackstar St James amp plugin. Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at the St James plugin by Blackstar, which came out early last week. Now, the St James amp is part of the Blackstar range. They have two different types of amps. They have the EL34 and the 6L6, and this is available in different formats. It's available as a 1x12, a 2x12, and also as heads with these really cool looking sort of upright 2x12 cabinets. Now, Blackstar have dipped their toe into the world of digital, and we've seen a variety of digital amplifiers and also the rather splendid amped range. That's something that I'm a massive fan of. In fact, Amped 2 has been something that I've been using pretty much exclusively for gigs for a while. This is a new area for Blackstar, sort of branching out into actual plug-in versions of one of their most popular amplifiers. So let's jump straight into the demo. Before we do that, I just want to talk a little bit about the gear that I'm using and how I've run this. I run it in a couple of different ways. I'm using my newest guitar, which is this rather beautiful Music Man, Ernie Ball Music Man Axis. This is a BFR, a Ball Family Reserve. This was the one of the latest ones in this nitro finish. So yeah, this is the guitar's first outing. For the demo, I'm using the desktop version. The reason being is that my recording Mac, my iMac, is in the other room, and I don't want to move all my filming stuff around. So I've just got the desktop version running here on my Mac. I'm using the IK Multimedia AXIO audio interface in here, which is a great audio interface for guitar. It's specifically designed for guitar. And I'm just running a pair of audio outs, capturing what I'm going to be demoing for you, the sounds that I'm going to be demoing for you in this talky bit of the video. But when I filmed the performance track, you'll see that I've got another cable sticking out the front there, and that's because I was capturing a clean DI. So I just recorded the clean DI. I had a generic tone for each section using the desktop version, so that the amps would obviously correspond with what you're hearing in terms of the visuals. But also, I set up some generic tones that I was playing and monitoring, but then I was actually capturing the DI tone, and then I opened the plugin, various instances of the plugin in the other room, and then experimented and messed around with the tones to come up with the tones that you heard on the final performance, the recording of the performance. Now, when it comes to those presets, I am giving those presets away today. Hopefully you enjoyed that, the intro track. I found the plugin really inspiring, and playing around with it kind of maybe come up with the different parts. And the more that I sort of got into experimenting with the plugin prior to coming up with the track, it sort of it kind of governs the direction, if you like, and inspired the direction of the track. I found this to be a really inspiring plugin to experiment with. So I'm giving away those presets. There's 6 presets in total. And also, I'm not getting anything for this video. This is an unpaid video. So if you do want to support me, there's also a link to purchase the plugin. I have an affiliate link. I get a little bit of a kickback for selling the plugin. So if you like what you hear, you want to download the presets and buy the plugin, please use my link. I'd really appreciate that. So just to make my life a little bit easier for this demo, I'm going to have to put my reading glasses on, struggling to see this tiny screen next to me. Let's take a look. We've got 5 sections to the plugin, to the interface. We've got your pre-effects, where you've got a compressor, an overdrive, which has either sort of a tube screamer style or a regular overdrive. We have a chorus and we have a phaser. Then we have the amplifier section, and here we have the this white amp. The white version is the EL34 version, whereas if I click there, we now have the black version, which is the 6L6. I'm going to go back to the white version. Then we have the cab rig. I'm using some of my presets as the basis for this demo, just to kind of speed things up. There's nothing more boring than watching someone, selecting different things. Hopefully the intro track sort of gave you an idea of what this plugin can do, and I'm going to show you, not really a deep dive, but more of the features and a little bit of knob twiddling. So here we have we have 2 separate cabinets, and you select the cabinets here. We have a whole kind of library of different cabs. All of the cabs are Blackstar cabs. We have different microphones, and you can switch the microphone on or off axis. We've got a pan control and then the level, and you have that for each side. This is quite nice here. We have an ambience, so you've either got small, medium or large ambience, a level control, and then we have either close, spread or wide for the width of the ambience. Now, I'm quite a fan of cab rig. Cab rig is really simplistic, something that I always struggle with plug-in amplifiers. I use them, but I sometimes find that they've got so many options to them, and they're so involved that you end up going all the way around the houses to get a sound that works. And then I sort of lose my my creative flow, if you like. So Cab Rig kind of eliminates all that. The microphones are set in the optimum position, and then it's up to you whether you have them on or off axis. So Blackstar have kind of taken all of that hard work out. You know, it's a bit like having a fixed IR. Even with the 2 notes dyne IR, sometimes I struggle a little bit with those because, you know, you move them around, and realistic when you turn on an amp and stick a mic in, you're not moving all these tiny increments. And sometimes I find that a little bit counterproductive. So I'm a big fan of Cab Rig. So that's a really nice section of the plugin. Then we have the post effects. We got a flanger, which you heard heavy dosages of flanger on the track. We have the tremolo, we have the delay, and we have reverb. We got 2 different types of reverb, a plate or a hall. And then we have the post EQ. Now that EQ is a really powerful EQ. In fact, when obviously I recorded, as I explained, I was sending out a clean DI for the performance. I'm not doing that now. I'm capturing, the sound that you're as I'm turning the knobs, I'm just capturing the audio out from the XIO. But all the EQ that I did to the guitars in the track were done with the onboard EQ. In fact, there was nothing else, just a little bit of compression that I inserted after each instance that I used. Obviously, you can open, I have this as a desktop version here, but you can open the St James plugin within your DAW, stick it on insert, and then, you know, enjoy all of the different features and the lovely stereo spread. That's something that's really impressive about it. Let's just go back to the amp. Down the bottom here, we have some other controls. We have your input level. We have a noise gate, which is really good. And we have a stereo mono switch. And then down here, we have the output. So that's the layout of the plugin. Now let's dive in and have a listen to some tones. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a clean tone. As I said, I'm using one of my presets as a basis just to save a little bit of time. We're on the EL34 version. The controls here, you have the volume control, and the controls are the same on both versions. You have the channel 1 volume, you have the channel 2 selector. You can see when I hit that engages channel 2. Then we have the gain control for channel 2. We have a voice switch. The lower position has less gain. When you push it up, you increase the gain. Then we have the volume for channel 2. We have bass, middle, and treble. We have a reverb control. Then we have some power amp controls. Basically, you have either set to 50 watts, so you have the maximum headroom, or you have a sag control, which I really liked on my crunch sounds. It gives it a little bit of a spongier sort of feel and sound. And then we have the master volume. Now, as I said, as I'm using one of my presets, I've disengaged the pre-effects, the post effects, and also the EQ. So let's just set the controls for the EQ kind of in the middle, as this tone was quite specific to the track. Let's have a listen. It's got a nice rich. It's a nice rich tone. It's very dry at the moment. So let's go on to Cab Rig and let's engage. Let's turn up the room control. If I strike the strings, you can hear it's now got a space to the sound. Let's put a little bit of spread on that. It'll be more obvious when we increase the size. It's a medium. And then we can put that on large if we turn up the control. Put that on wide. So there you have a little bit of ambience, which is quite nice. Let's put it back to medium. We don't want it too overpowered. All right, let's have a listen to the EQ controls. I'm just going to crank the bass up. It's got that kind of sort of woof to the low end that you get with a real amplifier. Drop that down. So you can hear there, it's a very powerful control. Mid-range. Onboard reverb, let's have a listen. That's really nice. Okay, now let's have a look at some of the pre-effects. We've got a compressor. You can hear that's really grabbing at the chord there, adding sustain. We got an overdrive. Let's just have a listen to that with the clean sound. It's really nice. That's just on the tube screamer setting. Let's go on the overdrive setting. Just drop the volume down a little bit on the guitar. It's really dynamic. It reacts really well. Let's go to the chorus. I've got that maximum width. Oh, that's nice. You can also sync the chorus to the tempo of your track. I did that during the performance. On to the phaser. Let's have a listen. Turn up the width control. Now let's check out some post effects. Click on the button there to access the post effects, and there's the on button there. We have the flanger. Let's have a listen. That's beautiful. I really like the flanger on this. Then we have the tremolo. Let's turn that on. Let's have a look at the delay now. There's a lot of delay there for that sound I was using. We have the normal control. Then we have the wide control. So you can see that really adds to the stereo field. And then we have the ping pong. That's a great sounding delay. And finally, we have the reverb. We've got a couple of different types of reverb on here. We've got the hall. You can control the size of it there and the tone. We've got a wide switch, and then we have the plate as well. And obviously we've got a control there for the tone and the mix. So I am running through these quite quickly. I don't want to sit here for ages just adjusting little increments. It's just to give you an idea of what is available. Okay, so while we're here and we're looking at the post effects, let's just have a look at the EQ. I've got that switched off at the moment. I had quite quite a severe EQ for the tone that I was looking at. Basically, you've got your low cut here, your low frequency, low mids, and high frequencies and a high cut. And then you can switch the different frequencies that you wish to either cut or boost. So without... You can hear I've scooped out quite a lot of low mid on that tone. It was for a very kind of clean sound that appeared halfway through the track. I wanted that very sparkly sort of clean tone. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the kind of power. Like I said, I don't want to sit here pushing faders and controls up and down to adjust the EQ. It becomes very boring, but it at least gives you an idea of how powerful that section of the plugin is. Okay, so let's have a little bit more fun with the EL34 amp. I'm going to go on to the next channel and let's have a listen to the different voices. Okay, so that's the milder drive. Let's go into cab rig now and change out the speaker cabinets. Let's try the St James cabs. Let's go with a what have we got here? We've got two different the 2x12 cabinets to start off with. You can hear that makes a massive difference to the sound just by changing the speaker cabs. Let's try with, what have we got here? A St James 2x12. So I've got a ribbon microphone on one side, and what have I got on this side? I've got, oh, that's another ribbon mic. Let's change the microphone. Let's put a condenser on that side. So we've got a ribbon on one side, a condenser the other. Straight away, that sounds really nice. I love the fact that the microphones are in fixed positions. I'm not dragging them and moving them around. I'm just changing the mics. I normally go for a condenser mic and a ribbon mic, or a condenser mic and a dynamic mic. Let's just mute out one side. Where's the mute? There. Let's just have a listen to that cabinet with the... Put on a 57. There we go. It's got that exaggerated sort of tizzy sound, but then with the ribbon mic. Let's now try using some 4x12s, add a little bit more weight to the tone. I really like that one, the Artisan 4x12. I liked this combination. It was an Artisan and a Series 1. So you had a slightly bigger cab for the low end. Okay, that's starting to come to life. Let's change that mic. Let's put a 414 on the straight cab. Oh, I like that. Let's go back to the amp, and now let's engage more gain. Okay, let's go to the pre-effects, and let's add a little bit of tube screamer, but let's turn down the gain and just boost with the level just to push the front of the amp a bit more. It's quite saturated. It's compressing a bit. And I'm not even using the post EQ. Let's go to the post EQ and just turn these off. I don't want to mess with it too much, but just using the low cut and the high cut which really are your friend, just to control the top end and the bass. Let's turn off the reverb. Okay, let's try adding some different effects to that. Let's put a chorus on there. Then we got that sag control on the power stage of the amp as well. Tighten things up a little bit, and then post effects, let's add, how about a little bit of delay on there. I think that sounds really nice. It's a really authentic sounding amplifier. I like, you know, it just sounds real. It's got a really nice set of controls to it. And with relative sort of speed and ease, I was able to create a pretty decent sounding tone. You know, like I said, you can really go a long way with this. And obviously, my choices in guitar sounds are not necessarily going to be your choices, but hopefully you can see the scope that you have with this amplifier. Okay, so now what I've done, I've switched over to the 6L6, so you're going to get your more American tones. Here's a clean. Straight away, it's got that slightly sort of scooped sound that you associate with the 6L6 amplifier. Nice sounding clean tone. Let's go on to the second channel. Let's disengage that voice. This is quite a Larry channel, actually. Disengage the post EQ for the moment. Going to cab rig, let's put a little bit of ambience with cab rig. Medium, I like it on the wide setting, and let's just turn that up a little bit. Change my microphone, I'm going to go for the 414 on that cabinet. Turn on the post EQ. I'm not sure how I had that set. Yeah, so I've just turned off the individual frequencies. I'm just low cutting and high cutting slightly. Let's go back to the amp and let's engage the second voice. Yeah, now you're into your world of gain. If we go on to the pre-effects, I've got that sort of classic tube screamer thing that you do where you drop the gain and push the level. So if you're into your kind of high gain tones, this will achieve it. Let's kick in the wide chorus. it's really inspiring to play. I really enjoy messing around with this. And as I said, these are just, snapshots, if you like, of what this is capable of doing. Let's engage the post effects. Let's turn off the reverb. We got a little bit of... So let's change the time of the delay. Wow, that's really nice. A bit of reverb. I'll tell you the effect that I really like. Let's go to the pre-effect. Let's just turn off the chorus. Let's have a listen to the phaser. That was fun. And obviously, as well as I'm tweaking here, if we go into cab rig, we can change the speaker cabs. Let's change that cab nip to that nice artisan cab, which I liked before. So have a listen to that. That's really good. That's really good. Now let's go to the post effects. Let's add the flanger. This was super inspiring for me, this effect. I really liked it. It had that kind of 90s EVH sort of thing. You can hear it's just a really powerful plugin. It has a lot to offer. I think it sounds very real to me. And as I said, the controls, it just responds well. If I just drop the noise gate down, we will get a bit of hiss because I've got that quite gainy at the moment. But if I... it's working like an amp. My guitar was cleaning up there. Obviously, that's dependent on how you have the noise gate set. If you've got a little bit too much noise gate in there, then that's gonna change the way that it works. But with any amp, if you've got it cranked up, you're going to get noise. So it's a little bit of a compromise there. Okay, let's just have a listen to the presets. Hopefully these won't vary too much in level. We've got the first preset. This was the preset for the rhythm guitar part. I kind of went for that, I guess, 90s EVH inspired tone. I'm not saying it is that, but it's my kind of interpretation. I like that quite exaggerated modulation on a sound. Let's go to tone 2. This was the tone I used for the verse, where I was doing more of the kind of finger style playing, or pick and fingers. Went for a little bit more of a nasally tone. Let's have a look at the cabs there. Yeah, I'm using a 2x12 St James cab and a 4x12 Series 1 cab. That was a nice... see what pre-effects I've got there. Yeah, I've got a chorus on there, so surprise, surprise, a big, large amount of modulation with one of my sounds. Tone number 3, this was the clean tone for that sort of ambient. Let's just drop the level down on that because I cranked the level up for that preset. I don't want to clip my other audio interface. So lots of ambient effects there as well as some modulation. What else have we got? Tone 4. Now this was for the first guitar solo, and it made me think of Gilmour. That's why I did that. I nodded that lick. I nodded Dave Gilmour there because he's another big influence on me. He's another one of my favourite guitar players. But for that tone there, I was using the phaser. And it kind of has that sort of slight Gilmour-y thing going on, using some compressor and the drive. I'm on the EL34, and I'm using a 2x12, and I think that's a 1x12, 1x12 St James cab. So it's got that slightly thinner tone about it. Okay, let's have a listen to preset or tone number 5. This was my lead tone for the main solo. That's a nice, kind of smooth, fluid sounding lead tone. And then finally, I went for a kind of variation on the main tone, which worked really nicely on the bridge and the neck pickup, sort of giving you, it's not a single coil tone, but it has that sort of slight space about it. So a kind of mild overdrive with some modulation. Okay, so there you have it. Hopefully there was a little bit of a kind of rushed run through. Like I said, I don't want to sit there and bore you to tears, adjusting all these mild increments. I thought it was good to just look at some core tones, make some adjustments, introduce some effects, and then look at the presets. As you can hear, this is a really powerful plugin. What's my thoughts on this plugin? Well, I'm always a little bit sort of dubious about amp plugins. I use them a lot, but the one thing that I find, as I said earlier on when we were talking about cab rig, is that sometimes you're just blinded by options. And I find that the amount of options, I can route this, I can do that, I can send my signal here, I can do this, move this mic so many increments. I find that takes away from the creative process for me, because I end up going all the way around the houses, to get a guitar tone. Whereas if I just use an amp with IRs, for instance, or if I just stick a mic in front of a cab, I instinctively know what it's gonna do and how it's gonna sound. But there are occasions where I use software amps, and I am a fan of modeling. Don't think that this is an anti-modeling speech, because I've been a fan of modeling since the pod. And that's the thing I loved about the pod. You turned the dial, or you held a button and you turned it to change the speaker cab. It was simple. I have a Helix that I absolutely love. But again, the Helix has a lot of deep editing and stuff going on. But then I have Amped 2. And whilst Amp 2 isn't stereo, it gives me the modeling element with the different input stage, like the different preamp and the different power amp, and then the onboard cab rig. But I've got the ergonomics of just turning knobs and it's really easy to set up. And with Cab Rig built into Amped 2, I've got a couple of sounds set up, or 3 sounds, should I say, that just work really well. I've spent a little bit of time choosing the correct cabinet, on or off axis with the mics, and adjusting the EQ. And I've got great sounds, and they didn't take me ages to arrive at. So when it comes to the St James plugin, that really has that user-friendly interface and approach to it. You know, it looks like an amp. The interface is beautiful, the way it's laid out. The controls work in the same way as an amp. It has that amp feel about it when you're playing it. But then you've just got the series of pre and post effects that are really easy. There's not loads of sub menus and different things you've got to do. You've just got a series of knobs on the front, and you turn them to tweak your tone with a couple of extra switches depending on different modes. And with Cab Rig, I love Cab Rig. It's just easy. Choose a speaker cabinet, bang, there you go. If that's not the cabinet for you, choose another one, choose a different mic. You're not moving the mic around all over the place and, you know, counteracting the other microphone. So Blackstar have kind of done the work for you there. You know, their engineers with their incredibly well-trained ears for tone have set the microphones within the modelling to be in the optimum position that gives you a great sound. So with that in mind, I think that this is probably one of the best amp plugins I've ever used. And this amp plugin will be something that when I need an amp plugin, I will use this. Now, for those of you that don't have a ton of different plugins within your recording setup, or you want to run it as I'm running it here as the standalone version, it's got a fantastic suite of effects. It's got EQ, post EQ, so you can really kind of tailor the sound as if you were using studio EQ. It's just a great interactive, fantastic sounding plugins. Okay, so I really hope you've enjoyed that demo. Like I said, if you want to check out the presets that I've made, click the link in the description where you can download them. And also there's a link there where you can buy the plugin. That's it from me, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.